Welcome to Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. I got a special guest, the Kentucky guy. How you doing, sir?
Hey, on today.
Good, 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 good. Oh man, so let's get in some pro wrestling, man. What you think about Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul, man?
Man, I tell you, and you may disagree. The Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, that's a pay per view that they only do once a year, and
Mhm.
to have someone as inexperienced as Logan Paul to be in the main event against a guy who's they've been in quote God mode uh, last couple of years, the longest reigning disputed champion, the tribal chief. I think it's a waste of time, to be honest with you. Logan Paul, he's okay. I mean, he's got a heck of a following on YouTube and so forth.
Mhm.
And he did really good in his last match against The Miz. I mean, he showed some real promise. But to push him this fast, and I know what they're doing. They're trying to, Roman Reigns is going to keep the title to at least WrestleMania next year, in my prediction. So they're going to give him softer opponents to end the year because he's wanting to step away and do some acting, right? That's why he's not on both shows every week. Uh,
Mhm.
so this match here, it's to build a lot of publicity. I mean, it makes sense, but me personally, being a true wrestling fan, I think it's a waste of time. What do you think about it?
I understand what they're doing. Um, you need. We all know, man. Wrestling took a big hit, man, over the years. We're not really having superstars. You know what I mean? To promote the machine, so it makes sense. The match definitely makes sense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've been watching wrestling for gosh, probably 25 years. But I quit for 5 or 6 years there because it just got so redundant. Back when wrestling went down, everybody stopped watching it there for a while. And then this little company called AEW started, and
Hmm.
I noticed that the wrestlers like they used to have an actual choice. They could bargain for more TV time, and these are your superstars, your better wrestlers, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, things like that. And once they started, I just flipped it on there because my nephews, who are fanatic when it comes to wrestling, begged, they you got to try it. It reminds you a little bit of the Attitude Era. You got to try it, try it, try it. So I turned it on, and before I knew it, I was hooked again. I watch just about every promotion out there right now. So
And that's what I'm talking about. I miss the promos, you know what I mean, to you know what I mean, the pay-per-views and like that era is dead for me. Like that's why I saw a couple matches on AEW and they give me that kind of feel too. But I feel like the superstars are not really there like they used to be. Like I remember when, you know what I mean, Steve Austin, you know what I mean, and Booker T fighting the, you know what I mean, the grocery store. Them promos were legendary. You know what I mean? So for the storylines, not for WWE, like I can't do it no more, man. I
yeah,
can't
man,
do it.
like The Rock when he took Stone Cold's intercontinental title and threw it off the bridge into the river, or Stone Cold he actually attacked Vince McMahon in the hospital. One of the most epic scenes that they ever had back then. So yeah, I got you. Yeah, you don't see that. Triple H is ahead of creative now since Vince retired, and we're starting to
Mhm.
see a lot of it come back. I don't think they'll ever get to the PG-14 again, but some of the people that he's bringing back, and rumors of some more that he's bringing back into the fold, it should. WWE is getting very interesting. The problem is it's getting interesting, and AEW's got all this problems and drama back in the locker rooms now. So you can never have both doing good in a perfect world. You know what I mean?
You look, I got to meet my one of my favorite wrestlers, to be honest with you, at in North Carolina. Coming back from working, I had like a work trip type thing. What happened?
I'm still here.
Okay, so I had a thing happen. I saw a Big Show, and it was awesome, man. It was really awesome.
the Big Show's your favorite wrestler?
Yeah, I like the Big Show. Big Show, Undertaker, The Rock. Um, I was a big Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid. So to see him, to really see how big he is in real life, was mind blowing.
Yeah, I went to a match when they came to town last time, and took my daughter, and Kane was there, the
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker's brother, Kane, and
Mm-hmm.
dude, that guy, the TV does not do him justice. When he fell in the ring, I swear to God, he took up half the ring. That dude is so big and tall. It was shocking to see him in real life. So yeah, I can imagine what the Big Show wasn't wrestling back then, but he was hurt or injured. He didn't come to the show. But to imagine see him life size, that would be something else.
But who are some wrestlers you liked back in your day, or like now?
Well, the my favorite wrestler of all time uh, would would be Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
Kid, he's definitely number one. Always, even back in the day when everybody else was watching WCW and Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen and all that, I was watching Shawn Michaels. I was watching him when he was with the Rockers with Marty Jannetty. Then when he went on his own and he finally won the title at WrestleMania. So he's always been one. Today, recently, the best wrestler in the game, in my opinion, it's a tie. It's Seth Rollins from WWE Raw, and
Mm-hmm.
it's AF from AEW. Both those
Mm-hmm.
guys can Mike. Right now, currently, I would say those two, on my list, are the top, the cream of the crop. They would say.
Okay. Um, I don't know what happened to my camera, but I'm gonna keep on going.
I see.
So, oh, you see me still?
Yeah, I see you. You're. It looks like you're kind of paused, to be honest with you, but I do see you.
Okay. So man, I just feel like the superstars downgraded over the years. How do you feel about that?
You're absolutely
No
right.
mic, no good mic skills.
You're absolutely right. You definitely. You see, back in the day, and it sounds like that you watched it during the era that I did as well.
Early two
Uh,
thousands. Yeah.
yeah, you had you had more than one superstar that could talk on the mic. You had The Rock, you had Stone Cold, you had Triple H, you had HBK. They could all come out on a dime and do great promos. Nowadays, you'll get one or two that are great, but you can't put them on there after every match unless they
Yeah.
become a commentator. So yeah, you're absolutely right, man. That's one of the reasons why I stopped watching. It wasn't interesting. Luckily, over the years, they've got some new talent like Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Kenny
Mhm.
Omega, uh, MJF on AEW, uh, who, and this is what I miss about the old era. Uh, they used to make you care. It used
Yeah.
to, whether you hated them, but you still loved them, even though you hated them if they're heel, or if they were a baby face, they would still make you care about the match. And also, one of the things, and hope I think you'll agree with this, is the moves back then used to mean something.
Hmm.
Hitting with a super kick at the beginning of the match, that's a finishing move. That takes away from the legitimacy of it. Could you imagine back in the day, The Rock hitting some like Triple H with 5 different rock bottoms where he could pin him? I mean, I watched Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns match, and Brock Lesnar F5'd him like 6 times and still didn't pin him. It doesn't. You take away from the legitimacy of the finisher, and I think that turns a lot of people off. I know it does me.
It definitely does, man. It just feel gimmicky now. You know what I mean? And I stopped watching it in like in '05 when MVP and you know what I mean, the gimmicky, you know what I mean, wrestlers, and
Yeah.
it was not really enjoyable for me anymore. Like,
Yep, that's about the time that I stopped watching it too. Yeah, I, I stopped for, oh man, probably almost 5, 6 years until
mhm.
AEW. And AEW was actually in business for a year before I ever turned it on. It took a year of my nephews and my brother and all this to, come on, come on, come on, you got to watch it. And I was like, okay, finally I did. And I noticed, that they actually, people were jumping ship. What I used to love about wrestling was you never knew what was going to happen. I think the internet has hurt wrestling a lot as well, like spoilers and things of that nature, because people would show up and like when the NWO took over WCW,
Hmm.
that was a storyline that'll always live in history. But the real reason why we tuned in was to see who was going to join next or what was going to happen next. And
Hmm.
I felt we lost a lot of that with the internet.
Hmm. The spoilers, and I just think that again, just the story writing is just, I mean, could you imagine how much money Ric Flair would have made if he was young in his 20s now? Or you know what I mean, Randy Man Savage, you know what I mean, how his mic skills with Elizabeth and his skits, you know what I mean, and or Eddie Guerrero with his skits and stuff like that. These guys would be cleaning up now, just with their mic skills in the wrestling. Like,
Or you go back and bring John Cena and The Rock in right now. Those guys
oh
were
my
great.
god,
Yeah.
John Cena made so much money off that terrible rap album, posters, toys, and you know what I mean. He made a lot of money off of that stuff. You know what I mean? Even The Rock going in and messing with Stephanie, talking shit to her, playing the guitar in the middle of the ring. There were just iconic moments right there, which we don't see
Yeah.
no more in wrestling.
The one thing about John Cena is he had 4 moves. He was like Hulk Hogan. He had 4
Mm-hmm.
moves,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the face of the company for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, it
Even,
shows you it's all about making it's not really about wrestling. It's about making people feel something, whether they love you or hate you. That's how you get over. And that's what happened to John Cena. He was able to talk on the mic. He made people feel, he embraced it when they booed him. And
mm-hmm.
that made him care even more. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why he's the name he is today.
And you know what I mean? I feel like it's no heels no more.
Yeah, that's my problem too. My problem is I miss the big factions. Like I mentioned, the NWO DX. I miss the big factions that the heel factions that used to come in and take over the show.
Mm.
Aces. I don't know if you're familiar with Impact Wrestling
No.
back, but they had a group on there called the Aces and Eights, and
Mm-hmm.
they would pretty much take over the show, beat everybody up, take over commentary and everything. And it was exciting because you never knew week to week. Like I mentioned earlier, you just didn't know what was going to happen, and it made things more exciting. And I think, Triple H. I don't know if you've watched it lately or anything since he took over, but with
Mm-hmm.
some of the that he's bringing back, and he's actually doing it very smart. He's not putting any spoilers out there. Uh, People are showing up, like Johnny Wrestling showed up the other day on Raw. Had no clue. We were looking for him to show up during SummerSlam pay-per-view, and he
Mm-hmm.
shows up on Raw out of the blue. That made me feel like, okay, a little bit of excitement again because we don't know what's going to happen next week. So he is getting back to that, and I think WWE has turned a major corner with him taking over creative, and I look for them to get a lot better. Triple H is he did very well with NXT when it was NXT before it became NXT 2.0, and I think this was a good decision putting him in that role.
Yeah, I used to love watching Triple H, man. Triple H was fun to watch, man. With the
Yeah,
water, wetting his hair, spitting. Him and Chris Benoit, man. I used to love them, man. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Before he went crazy. Before he went crazy. Disclaimer, before he went crazy, man. But I used to love it, man.
yeah. DX was one of my favorite groups, man. The Triple H, Shawn Michaels, the Road Dogg, Billy Gunn.
And it's not what happened to the divas, man. There ain't no great divas no more. What happened to that, man?
Okay, so funny you bring that up. People ask me all the time on my show. They're like, "We always hear you say that you don't like female wrestling. That's not true.
Uh-huh.
Uh, to really like female wrestling back in the day. My
Mhm.
problem is they don't do, and this is all programs. This isn't just WWE or AEW. They don't do, they don't make me care anymore about women wrestling. They don't
Mhm.
do enough, and they don't have. Yeah, you've got Charlotte Flair, and she's great, you know. And if I had to pick, if you forced me to pick a favorite female wrestler, it would be Charlotte Flair, right?
Mhm.
But everybody else, they just don't make us care anymore, man. And I think that's real sad because when they were doing the push, if you remember back during the Attitude Era, they were doing the push for women wrestling. It got popular, it got big, and
China did a little thing.
Lita, you know what I'm saying, Trish Stratus, Mickey James. I mean, yeah, you know, back then I looked forward to watching them. Now, to be honest with you, when they come on television, that's usually when I take a break. I go grab something to drink or something. So.
Sasha Banks. I really don't care for Sasha Banks or Ronda Rousey. Um, what's the other one with the ponytail finish? What's her name?
Oh, I can't stand her, Bianca Belair.
Yeah, her
The big,
husband kind of gimmicky too. What's the guy's name?
yeah, Montel Ford.
Yeah, he's kind of gimmicky. Yeah, he kind
Yeah,
of and
I didn't mean to
what's
interrupt. Go ahead.
what's the guy with the booty guys? What's the guys? Fuck, coffee. Something.
What is it now?
The three Africans wrestlers they're like a tag team. What's the name of them?
The Usos.
Yeah, I don't like them either.
You don't like the Bloodline?
Nah, I'm not really for them.
Uh,
They got
yeah,
the booty cereal. What's the guys
oh,
got the booties?
you're talking about the new. Yeah, I can't stand those guys.
They kind of give me kind of like a Rashiki kind of feel.
Yeah, you know, Rikishi is actually the first tag team I talked about. The Usos. That's their dad in real life.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, that's the Rock's uncle. Uh huh. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Um, but the New Day, that's Big E. They call is one of them, and the I can't think of the other two's name. Xavier Woods and the other guy, and he's probably better than all three of them put together. Can't think of his name, but you're absolutely right. They should have retired years ago. They've done
Mhm.
everything. They've had such pushes in the company that I'll never understand. So they've done it all, and I think everybody's kind of sick of them as well. So
Okay, yes, man. Let's get to what got you into podcasting, Kentucky guy. What got you in podcasting and get on the mic, man.
yeah, I've been an influencer on different social medias for quite a few years, and actually, it started with I actually host two shows. The first show started a little over a year ago, and I basically did it just because it's more of a news show. We do a lot of interviews. I basically did it because I got tired of the mainstream media. Like I couldn't watch CNN, I couldn't even watch Fox News, and I just felt like they were lying to everybody. So
Mhm.
every time I'd watch something, I'd go research it, you know, do a fact check myself just to see, you know, what was going on. And 9 times out of 10, it was wrong information. And I just, it kept laying on my mind to start this podcast. And I listened to podcasts for years and years, mainly wrestling podcasts and sports podcasts. And so one day I don't know, I was like, okay, I couldn't get it off my mind. So I started it, and it grew, you know, after a few months and kept growing. And we've got an amazing team that helps me research and find out information. I've got met amazing connections. And then one day, last April, uh, a buddy of mine's like, man, you should get on your show and talk about WrestleMania. WrestleMania's coming up. And I was like, well, you know, I said I could, you know, why not? So I did a report. I did a prediction for WrestleMania, and then I did the outcome. I did two different episodes on that show, and it blew up. And I was like, whoa, you know, and it was fun. I had a good time talking about it. So that's where the new show came in. I was like, I'm going to keep them separate. But so the Against the Mat Wrestling podcast, that is kind of my uh, relaxed show. I like to have fun with. So it's basically me and I've got a co-host on there, Donnie Cage, and we just we talk about everybody, so everything, what we would change, what we liked, and what have you. So
Man, so let's get into the book, man. Talk about your book you have out, man.
okay, yeah, man. Thanks for bringing that up. So yeah, I just published a book. It's called America, the Land of the Sleeping. It's a nonfiction book. It's based on right now. There's so many people in our land that are struggling. I mean, let's just be honest about it. There's a lot of people struggling, and a lot of people feel like they just don't have any hope right now. Everybody's talking about this November, and they're talking about 2024. But right now, right this time, people are, they're broke. They've got inflation. We've got high gas prices. I mean, everybody's talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this book I actually feel things are going to turn around very quickly, very
Mm-hmm.
quickly. And what I do in this book is I explain why, once again, this book isn't to influence, and I say it multiple times throughout the book, it isn't to influence anybody to think the way or believe the way I do. But what it does is it gives them a blueprint on why this
Mm-hmm.
the way I do. Now, in the book, I also have screenshots, a lot of screenshots of different documents that I've researched over the last couple of years to kind of be evident on what I think is going to happen. So, yeah, so you can pick that up at anywhere you can find ebooks, and I've got it as on paperback at Amazon as well. So,
Again, man, I appreciate you coming on, Kentucky guy. Give me your thoughts about wrestling and your book, your podcast, and give them the name of both your podcasts you're on and you produce, man.
yeah, yes, sir. By the way, I was going to ask you, did you watch that Steelers game yesterday?
I did, man. I was happy. I'm a Patriot guy.
Oh,
Since I've been in elementary school, so I'm excited about it.
okay, so yeah, I'm a big Steelers fan. So we'll move on. So yeah, so thanks again, and I appreciate you having me on, dude. I really do. So the long term show that we've been going is the Red Pill Current News
Mhm.
Podcast. Basically, it's about current events, but I've switched it here in the last months. We've had all kinds of different guests on there. I've had mediums, holistic healers, authors of books, doctors. I had 2 lawyers on there, believe it or not, entrepreneurs and so forth. And we drop new episodes there every Wednesday and Saturday. Now I do drop special episodes, like I dropped one yesterday because I do a lot of special reports on there if something major happens. And of course, the Queen, they're getting ready to bury her today, so I'll probably have another episode today. But normally it's every Wednesday and Saturday. And then we have Against the Mat wrestling podcast, which I created. I'm the co-host with Donnie Cage on, and we drop new episodes there every Monday and Friday. And basically, it's about the past, present, and future of wrestling promotions and superstars. And Donnie he's a good guy. I guess you would call him a baby face, and maybe me a heel. Some people
Mhm.
have called. We don't agree on everything, but we do have a good time. So, and that show's actually starting to grow. So, and if you ever want to be a guest, if you're listening, ever want to be a guest or have any questions, you can always email him or me at olkentucky99@yahoo.com. That's OL Kentucky spelled out 99@yahoo.com. And we need to get you on there, bro. One of the shows
All
to
right,
talk.
we can set something up like that, man. We
Yeah,
can definitely set something up like that.
anytime, man. I'll send you the calendar, the podcast calendar, anytime you want to come. Yeah.
And I'll probably have you on, man, again too, man, if you like to come talk some
Yeah.
wrestling, some big events, and break them
Yeah.
down for me.
Absolutely, sir. Whatever you need. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. Once again, referring back to the book I just wrote, we're here to help each other, and that's what we do. You know, whether it be in business or just life in general. Man, stop stop the hate. You know what I'm saying? Let's just help each other do what we're supposed to do. So, yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you coming on, Kentucky guy. You have a good rest of your day, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and sharing your thoughts of wrestling and your book and your podcast, man. I appreciate you coming on. It's all about networking.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and God bless, and God bless America.
What's up, Deets? Let me unmute you. What's up, Deets?
What's up?
Got to get my guests out, man. I'm trying to have a little guest show, man.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool, man. I love that. Wrestling is my thing, man.
I didn't know you watch wrestling.
Since I was young. I'm a huge fan. Usually when you see me on my phone and it looks like I'm texting, I'm not. I'm playing wrestling on my phone.
Okay.
So no, I've been a wrestling fan since I was like 5.
Wow. So, man, let's go back into some college football, man. Give the people what they want, man.
This was
start first, man.
This was a weird week of college football, man. It was pretty much we had the chaos of week 2, and this was kind of setting the record straight of who's the more dominant teams, who we saw, and so there's not much to break down this week as far as like who's gonna move, who's gonna do this, who's gonna do that. Everybody pretty much showed up. Texas A&M came back off after the disaster that was Appalachian State. They came back. They looked pretty good against Miami. The defense Texas A&M still looks good on defense. So as long as they can get something from that offense, A&M should be fine.
Man, you're definitely right, man. It was definitely an interesting week, man. But
I'll tell you where everything got interesting in the crowds this week, and no bigger moment than in LSU, Mississippi State in Death Valley, and if you were watching it on ESPN, if you're watching it on regular ESPN, you probably did not pick up on this because I don't think they mic up the crowd. However, I don't watch game. I'm not able to watch. If the game's on regular ESPN, I'm not allowed to watch it. I have to watch it through the Skycam, and the Skycam picks up all audio all over the field. So what happened is I think it was the quarterback for Mississippi State got injured and stayed down, got hit and stayed down after a play. And I'm watching on the Skycam, and you hear the PA announcer, blah blah blah, rushes for 5 yards, but he stayed down. And you hear the crowd at LSU chanting, "He's a pussy." In clear, they did it like 4 or 5 times, just chanting it out loud. And you could hear, and because the mic on the Skycam picks up everything, they picked it up immediately, and it was like 4 times they did it, and they went immediately to commercial. they usually don't go to commercials. They immediately hit commercial because they knew they were picking up everything. To me, I couldn't figure it out if it was the best thing I saw all weekend or if it was the worst thing I saw. Because the minute I heard it, I just laughed so hard. It was just crazy. So you get that in LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I don't know if it's best or worst is because I know it's not the worst. Because the worst thing that happened was in Oregon. And we know what happens in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Oregon people are like, and anybody you just had your guests on talking about America and the world and everything. Well, Oregon is a completely different place than anybody else. They're usually hey, we're liberal and let everybody come in and do their own thing, and they were one of the first people to legalize marijuana, all that stuff out there, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the fans of Oregon as BYU is coming into the stadium. Now, BYU is entering Autzen Stadium to play a game against the Oregon Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, about a month ago, sports networks had picked up a story from a Duke volleyball player who was playing a game at BYU because it's in Utah, it's in Mormon country, where most of the crowd for BYU and most of the participants for BYU happen to be white. Now, this Duke player claimed that BYU fans were making racial threats against her.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed this in the media. So naturally, the media picked up on it, slammed BYU, slammed Utah, slammed white people, slammed everything, as they typically do. Now, it was investigated, her claims, nothing found.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out last week and says, yeah, it's not true. I made the whole thing up.
Mm.
Now, you haven't heard anything about – now, while they ran stories for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching this. They ran stories for about a week about the toxicity of fans and racially toxicity of fans and how fans are getting out of control. However, since she said that she made it up, you haven't seen one story about she lied. You haven't seen one story on the major networks on the networks that covered it as a problem. You haven't seen them recant any of their stories. You haven't seen them apologize for being duped. You haven't seen any of them.
But Dietz, but I heard that coming from Utah Jazz fans that it gets rowdy.
We've heard it before. We've heard
but
it.
I've never heard it from
and I know. Russell Westbrook got into it with some fans in Utah, and we covered it. We covered it on my network and said, anybody who says that, who is yelling racial slurs at the game, it's on the fans. It's on the fans to be like, hey, I know you're cheering for our team, but shut the hell up. Like, you don't need to do it that way. You're just making everybody else look like an idiot. Like it. But it's isolated incidents. It's not great. It's not rampant. It's not rampant the way that they ramped it up. But anyway, why I bring up the Duke story is because BYU was heading into Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So what did the Oregon fans do? They chant F the Mormons as they're walking into the stadium. You can't make this stuff up, dude.
No story about that, though.
I mean, yeah. And the only place I'm hearing about it is on Sports Wars. I haven't heard it on any other station. I haven't seen it. I didn't see it on the big networks. I didn't see it on anything. Yeah, so they'll cover this Duke story for a week, but when stuff like that happens, nope, it's radio silence, and that's the worst thing because they got all these people riled up, and and nobody, and they haven't corrected the record, so nobody else has seen it. If you're not looking for this story, you're not going to see it because they bury it. And they bury it, and usually it's like one line, like, "Oh, she lied. Let's move on." It's like, no, that's a big story. Like, she lied to the media. It's horrible.
But Deets, we all know that's nothing going to happen to that. But I have a question for you. Where does Arizona State goes from here? Who do you feel like would want to take that job? It's not an ideal job for anybody. Who do you feel like?
Arizona State, you know, for all that, Herm Edwards has turned the facilities around at that program, and that's, you know, it may not show. I mean, they had a couple of good seasons, and you know they got hit hard with the transfer portal. The coaching staff there, how they didn't succeed with that staff. I don't know who would take that. I don't know who they would slide into that program to overtake. I mean, if Herm Edwards couldn't do it, if Marvin Lewis couldn't do it, if Antonio Pierce couldn't, you had those three guys on the staff, and they couldn't do it. You need to get somebody down there who can recruit hard, and they need to recruit California. You need to be able to go into Southern California and pull guys out of there. You're not going to win just by recruiting Arizona and a little bit. So to me, you have to go out and get a California guy who knows the area, because that's where you have to. And maybe a guy who can go into Texas and pull some people from there. But
he said a state that I know a guy for Texas. It's crazy, Deets.
Those are the two places you have to go for Arizona State, because you're right there. There's no reason why Arizona State should be in the situation they are, because it's one of the best schools in the country. It's one of the best party schools in the country. Like, they have a good tradition. You go back to the Jake Plummer years. You go back to they had the pass rusher from Baltimore. They had what's it? God, now I can't remember his name, but
I got a name for you, D.
Terrell Suggs. They had Terrell Suggs there. So they've had good guys there. It's just it's not a destination right now, and it's not a destination that any coach is going to want to go to.
What about this, Deets? Somebody that had interest is coaching. What about Rod Woodson?
Rod Wood. It would be a good spot. I don't think it would be a spot that you would want to start your if you're Rod Woodson. It would obviously be a good jump for him. I don't think it would help the program. I think you have to get a guy who's established, as in maybe a guy from the FCS level, maybe a guy from a non-Power 5, to go in there, because for a guy like Rod Woodson, if that's how he starts his career, it'll be bad, because they're going to be anybody who takes over a program, you're not going to come in and have immediate success. You're going to come in. There's going to be lumps. You're going to take lumps, and just look at what's happening at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman, you know, he comes in, loses the first 2 games, and everybody's up in arms at him. If that happens with a guy who doesn't have any pedigree behind him, that hampers the rest of his coaching career, because now he's looked at, oh, this guy's lamed up. I don't want to, you know, top recruits are going to go, I don't want to go play for him because the school's going to get rid of him. So it creates a bad thing. If you get established guys who have built programs other places, you could say, you can come in, the guy can have a bad first year or a bad first couple games, and you could say, look, this guy's rebuilding the program.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be in a day. It's going to be years down the road. So that's how I would approach that program. You want a guy, an up and comer who has something behind him.
Mhm.
You don't, as far as like a guy like a Rod Woodson, you don't want to take that as your first job because you'll never get another job after that.
And let's move along. What about I'm hearing, strong talks about Urban Meyer, Nebraska. I'm getting hearing reports.
It wouldn't shock me that Nebraska's going after Urban Meyer. I mean that Urban Meyer is the golden goose for anybody who's looking for a coach.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, would Urban Meyer go to Lincoln, Nebraska? And I don't think he would. Urban Meyer knows the Big Ten more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And why would he want to go? Why would he want to go against when he took over at Ohio State? Ohio State was already built for championships.
Mm-hmm.
Urban Meyer's legacy is already cemented.
I think you want to get back in coaching bad though, Deez. Come on, man.
He's got to pick. If you're Urban Meyer, why would you go to Nebraska? And why would you go to Nebraska? Because at the state that they're in right now, you're only going to tarnish your record. What are people going to say? Oh, see, he took over Ohio State and Florida, but they were already built, and it's only going to tarnish his career. It's not going to help him unless he makes Nebraska a powerhouse.
I think he could.
And could he do that?
Look at the transfer portal. Come on, man.
At Urban Meyer's age, I don't think he can put that. I don't think he can put that together to get Nebraska where they need to be. And the only upside to it is, you can't do any worse than the previous regime. So no matter what Urban Meyers does, it'll be looked at as a success. But if he takes over the program and they're still fourth or fifth in the Big Ten West, well, what are we talking about? I mean, we're going to be talking about, well, Urban Meyer may not be the golden goose that we think he is.
Mm-hmm. So, man, and it looked like Georgia still is not playing around, man.
Georgia's not messing around. The way they took care of South. I mean, we saw South Carolina put up a good fight against Arkansas. Yeah, and Georgia pretty much just punched them in the mouth right out of the gate, and they didn't stop.
Just like Michigan. Michigan blew that Connecticut out. Jim Moore looked like he's about to have a heat stroke, man. 59-0.
I watched that entire game, and that was one of the games that was actually able to get through the ESPN app. So I was able to watch that entire game, and Michigan's an interesting case study right now because the kid JJ McCarthy looks really good, but how do you go from a quarterback that led you to the college football playoff and tell him, you know what, you're captain of the team, but you're second string now? Cade McNamara getting sent down there. I just wonder what's going to happen there because Cade McNamara is definitely hitting the transfer portal. There's no question about that. At the end of the year, he'll be somewhere else because he's only a sophomore, and he was on point to leading this team. And JJ McCarthy comes in, and the offense looks a little different with McCarthy, but still, there's something about winning. There's something about winning that should be like. They kept saying it on the broadcast. Oh, Cade McNamara hasn't done anything to lose the job. If he didn't do anything to lose the job, then why is he losing the job when all they're doing is winning with him? I mean, they lost 2 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
One to Michigan State and one to Georgia. The one to Georgia went on to win the national championship, so you can't really write that against them. He lost a rivalry game at East Lansing, but you don't reward this kid to say, hey, go out there and play, go out there, continue to play well, and we'll see where we get. Nope. In this realm of college football, winning doesn't matter. It's about, oh, we got this new kid, we have to play him. I don't like it, but I love that Michigan. I love that Michigan team. They rock. They rock the house. Ohio State rocked Toledo, so they continue to look like Ohio State. And those top 4 teams are pretty much the goal for those 4 teams for the next 3 weeks is just accentuate yourself from the number 5 team. And I think they've done. I think they've put enough separation between them where any of those teams, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, as long as they don't get blown out, I think they could even suffer a loss and still be in the top 4.
Man, Penn State surprised me. Penn State got it done against Auburn. Got it done.
Penn State showed up, and much props. Even though, as much as I have maligned Sean Clifford, he's leading that team right now. They're playing well. The way I looked at that game is it shows Penn State is on a good run. Plus, that running back Singletary, the freshman running back they brought in is the real deal. Mm-hmm. That's what Penn State has been needing since the loss of Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders. They haven't had a running back like that who can change the game. Now they do. Now they do. This kid can outrun anybody. He's physical. So Penn State's got some good options. The questions I have for Penn State are going to be at receiver. And of course, I want to see Sean Clifford in a big moment. He stepped up on Saturday in a hostile environment, so they got through that. But we know that's not the Big Ten. That's not the Big Ten. We know that they have to go. I think they have to go to Iowa. I know they've got to play Ohio State, Michigan State. Those are the big games. Those are the big games that we have to see Sean Clifford play. And if they can get through that, we'll see. I mean, there's a reason why Penn State was that high. Their secondary is really good, though. Mm-hmm. They probably have the best secondary in the country.
Man, and that, you know what game had me biting my fingernails? South Florida versus Florida. That was good. That was a good game. That was a real good game.
I mean, Florida. What the hell has happened to Florida since week 1?
I don't know, man.
Week one they came out and looked great. Ever since then, it's been a struggle. They lost to Kentucky. They struggled against South Florida. Mm-hmm. It's like that team came out week 1 and they have been a completely different team the last 2 weeks. And that's why we say that's why I don't, they moved all the way up to 11 after beating Utah. And this is why I don't do polls until I see the teams play a bunch of times. Because what have we seen from Florida? We saw one really good game and we saw 2 crappy games. So which one is real? I got to go with the crappy versions until they show me another good game. And they got a big time one this weekend coming up against Tennessee. The Florida Tennessee game, that's a huge rivalry.
Whew. Oh, my Volunteers won, man. My Volunteers need that win.
This is a big test for both these teams. Tennessee survived Pittsburgh and got lucky that Keaton Slovis got knocked out of the game. So Pitt didn't have their star quarterback in overtime, and it showed. But Tennessee got out of there with a win, so they take that. But other than that, I haven't seen much out of Tennessee that tells me they're a stud team. So I want to see what they put on tape against Florida to see where Tennessee stacks up. And this is the measuring stick game of can one of these teams challenge Georgia? Because if they both continue to look the way they are, no. Georgia's going to steamroll both these teams.
Man, what about this game too, man? I was expecting Washington to get it done like that against Michigan State's tough defense. Was you expecting that?
I expected Washington to win the game. I did not. I expected Michigan State to keep it close, and they just didn't. It's tough. It's tough going out. People always say it's tough for people going west to east. Mm-hmm. It's tough going out west too. Mm-hmm. That game was all the way in Washington. It was, everything's just different when you have to travel that far. Mm-hmm. So I didn't expect Michigan State. I didn't expect them to win the game. I just didn't expect them to get steamrolled the way they did.
And I'm glad Texas A&M back on the winning circle, man, against Miami. Because I don't think they could really afford that loss, man, to lose to Miami.
No, that was a game. That was a game. A&M needed to play that game. Their offense is still struggling, and that's got to be a very very concerning for anybody, for the 12th man, for anybody down there. You got to be concerned about that offense. The defense is fine. Mm-hmm. The offense is where you got to look at it and say, we're going to have to score.
They look like they're stuck in neutral. You're not going to
hold Alabama. You're not going to hold Alabama to 20. I mean, look at what they did against Texas. They scored 20 points. Mm-hmm. So if you're A&M hasn't scored 20 points in the last two games. You gotta be able to put numbers up. You're not going to beat Alabama 13-7. It's not going to happen.
Definitely not going to happen.
So I question that. Now they went with Max Johnson. They're going to continue with Max Johnson at quarterback. So now A&M has to find a way to get some offense, because you're not going to be able to run any quarterback type options. Max Johnson is probably slower than his dad right now. But he's got a strong arm, so they've got to find a way to move the football down the field.
So who do you think was the biggest underachievers in this week, man, and overachievers? Give us a couple.
Well, we just talked about we talked about the A&M. The biggest underachievers, definitely, Miami. That was a huge hit to Miami. Mm-hmm. So they needed that game. Like I said, this week was kind of resetting the narrative of everything after the last couple weeks. I think that's really what we got back to. You saw, and I just want to make sure I get this. I mean, you got to give a lot of props to Florida State. A lot of people wouldn't notice because it was Friday night and it wasn't on Saturday. But going into Louisville and coming away with a win, that's big for Florida. That's big for Florida State. They're 3-0 now, mm-hmm. and that's a big step for getting them back to where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And to take out an ACC opponent, can they now challenge in the ACC? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out if they can challenge with Clemson. One of the biggest disappointments, and even though they won the game, Wake Forest survived the Liberty. And, I mean, you're talking about a Wake Forest team that usually puts up a whole bunch of points, and they got out 37-36. So Wake Forest survived, but they did not look the way you want a Wake Forest team to look. Got NC State and Clemson and those kind of guys coming up. They got to play a lot better than that. So as far as not looking good, and the other thing that's disappointing was the entire American Conference. And everybody's always looking for who can challenge the non-Power Five. Well, it was supposed to be the American. And Houston gets slacked by Kansas. Which, by the way, Kansas is on fire right now. And a lot of people would not expect that to happen. And when they get into conference play, we'll see if that continues. But they put up 48 this weekend. They are number one in points per game in the entirety of college football. They're the most productive offense as far as scoring points. So, it's interesting to see, and everybody's talking about the new head coach down there, and he's got this turned around. You have to remember the kids that are there right now that are playing, those are guys that were recruited by Les Miles. So and nobody wants to do that because of the way Les Miles was let go and the things he did to get himself fired. Like, yeah, I get it. You don't want to mention him, but it has to be said. Les Miles did bring those kids in. So he brought the kids who are playing right now, and Kansas is back to looking like a football team after years of not.
Man, what do you think? Let's talk a little FCS, man. What's going on with McNeese, man?
McNeese,
What's going on with him, man?
The FCS is so up and down. One week, it's so hard to look at what these guys are, because you see them play against a really big school and they get psyched up for that game, and then you see them come back to the FCS and they don't look the same, because they really do play to opponents, and so it's the FCS is always different. It's always odd to look at. One week you're going to see a team that's inspired and trying to just play with the big guys. Mm-hmm. And then when they go back to playing with, they're saying they don't have that same intensity. And it takes that's why coaching at the FCS level is so important. Mm-hmm. It's not important to call the plays. It's important to get your guys to remember, hey, this game's just as big as going to the big house to play Michigan, going to College Station to play Texas A&M. Yeah, those games are fun. Those games are easy to get hyped up for. It's getting hyped up for playing the net. It's hyped up for playing the game in your conference. That's what's hard at the FCS level.
They got shellacked by Alcorn State, 30-19. You know what I mean? You lost to a SWAC team. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you've ever followed Alcorn State, and we know all the people that have come out of Alcorn State, I mean, if you have a bad game against Alcorn State, they're gonna make you look. The way they play. They're if you don't bring your A game against them, they're gonna make you look silly.
Mhm.
They've done that for years. They've done that since the days of Steve McNair.
Mhm. Man, and another good game, man. I caught a little bit of it. The North Dakota State versus Arizona. They almost beat them, 28-31. They almost beat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see the scholarship difference. You know what I mean? Differential, but that was a good game. That was a good game.
I actually picked North Dakota State in that game. That's how much I think of Arizona. But that says more about how much I think of Arizona than I did about. But yeah, North Dakota. There's something about championship pedigree, and that's what North Dakota State has, and we'll see what I was just talking about. It's easy for them to get psyched up to go play Arizona in Arizona. Now, how do you get psyched up to go play South Dakota, or whoever I don't know their schedule, but whoever they play next week, how do you get psyched back? How do you get that psyched up again? Because you're not playing an FBS school this week. So, but they're the class of the FCS right now, and they've earned it and they deserve it.
Morgan State looked good. To beat Sacred Heart, that was a good win right there. You know what I mean? The MEAC doing little things. You know what I mean? I think that coach from Bowie State, earning his money. He's looking good. You know what I mean? It was a lot of good FCS games this week, man.
The FCS always put on a good show. It's always worth watching. If there's an FCS game on, it's always worth tuning in because something always happens. Something's always going on. But this will be my one shilling for the company. If you want to get action, get the ESPN app. And if the only reason to get it is to watch these ESPN 3 games, and especially in the MEAC, especially in the SWAC, if you can get their games on, because they don't have a halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go to break. They stay on the field. So the show, the reason to watch is that the bands at halftime are fantastic.
Are you're a band geek?
I love the band. I love the bands during anytime those guys put it on show. I can't play an instrument, so anytime I can see them do it, I'm like, this is amazing.
Me either.
The only reason I was in the band in high school is because our band did the halftime shows for our football games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since I was on the football team, I got basically half a year of study hall because I couldn't be in it because I couldn't play because it would mess up the formation and whatever. So they were like, all right, just sit on the sideline. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I don't have to do anything. Awesome.
Man, so I know you're in the upper United States and, Connecticut. Also a good game. I was watching FCS Central versus, North Carolina Central versus New Hampshire. Did you catch a little glimpse of that game or no?
I saw a little bit of it while I was flipping through. I love what they're doing at UNH. I love UNH. I love what they're doing up at UNH. They've got a good program going. Look for them to make some noise come FCS playoff time. That's a good program they got up there.
Mm-hmm. What about Central? What's your thoughts about Central? What they're doing?
Central, it's tough to talk about those teams because they're not going to be, and they're trying to get to the Celebration Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's their goal, and I don't know if they can do it.
You don't think they can beat South Carolina State?
I don't think so. With Shaq Davis, Davis at wide receiver, South Carolina State is South Carolina State is gonna run through a lot of those teams. And we saw, if you watch the UCF game, like, yeah, the offense was Shaq Davis he can play. He looked monstrous compared to the UCF guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the FCS level, he looks like he just looks like a monster compared to that. And he's like 6'5".
Only thing I worry about is the quarterback play with Corey Fields, man, not hitting them right. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I see. Their weakness is at the quarterback position right now.
Yeah, they've got to get that quarterback situation put out. But what we saw last year in the Celebration Bowl, you don't have to be. The thing that makes Shaq Davis such thing is you don't have to be accurate with him. He's gonna make a bad throw look good, just by the way he can go up and get it. So,
you know what I feel sorry for though, man. This year, I don't know what's going on with him, but I feel like his stock is plummeting really bad. Kamari Everett out of Bethune Cookman. I feel like he was one of the best tight ends in college, but I feel like he might go undrafted. He's not really producing no numbers this year. These first couple weeks, man.
Well, tough to tell these first 3 weeks, and of course that first game, their first game against Miami, that'll make anybody look pedestrian, and so I think his numbers will turn around. But yeah, if he keeps going this way, and for that team, they got to find a way to get him involved early.
Yeah,
whether it's tight end screen early, or just a bootleg, a quick bootleg where it's just him and the quarterback, and dump it off to him. They got to get him involved early. If they don't get him involved, it seems like he fades away from the game. So
we about to hit a quick commercial break. At 12:15, we have a Playmakers blog on to talk some NFL. We about to go to a quick commercial. Let's just be tiptoeing the NFL now, man. I was at Six Flags in Jersey over the weekend, man, watching my phone. Seeing what my Patriots did. But how big was that? Belichick sound the doubters. Oh, we about to go 0-17, and we just found a way to win, man. And just
let me tell you the overall. Let me tell you what the overall message was this weekend. And the overall message of the NFL, and your Patriots were part of this, but the overall message to the NFL was just a big middle finger to the media and to everybody that wanted to get out of control. Oh my God, the Patriots are falling off. The Cowboys will never win a game without Dak. The Rams were disastrous on Thursday. All of that this weekend was just a big middle finger to that. Like, shut up. Everything will work out. Like, it's the Green Bay. The sky is falling. They get Chicago coming in and they destroy them. So That's what happened this week. It was It was a big course correction for the NFL. We got. I want Playmaker. I want Playmaker to come on. I want him to explain to me what happened in New York or in Cleveland.
Ooh, man.
What happened in Cleveland was an absolute debacle.
I gotta say this though. Before we hit that, man, I'm gonna let Playmaker do that at 12:15. But I'm gonna say this, man. Mike McDaniels, what he doing with the Dolphins? He need a round of applause. You know what I mean? At first, I said, man, Brian Flores, why you do what they're doing offensively is amazing. It's amazing.
Well, look at what one player does, and having Tyreek Hill. You saw Tyreek Hill. He was just running by, dude. The Ravens just stopped playing defense, and they bottled him up when they built up that lead, and then they said, well, we're just going to let him go one-on-one. Like, you cannot let Tyreek Hill go one-on-one with anybody because he was just running by dudes. And that got him back in the game. And you saw what happens when Tyreek Hill is running all over the place. Then you got to double cover him. Well, what happens? Jalen Waddle gets wide open. Jalen Waddle's wide open. So
I loved it. I loved it. I like this.
Where's all those Miami people right now that were saying get rid of Tua?
Woo!
Where are they at? Where are they at?
I think they disappeared.
Yeah, I think they're all gone too because Tua just showed them. Hey, I think what really happened is Tua's finally healthy. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't heal from a broken hip. It takes a while to get comfortable to get that back, and I think he's healthy now. He looks good. He moves around well, and for what they did for staying up, being able to come back, that's another one that was just like the Ravens. You can't win. The Ravens can't win the way that they play.
All right, now we got the man of the hour. We got a Playmaker in here.
What's good?
How you doing, sir? I appreciate you, gracing the mic today for me, man.
Man, no problem. It's very good to be on. What's going on, Chris?
What's up, Playmaker? You want to start? You want to start with what in the world were your Rams doing until they got that final pick? Like, how did they let the Falcons get all the way back in that game?
I'm still debating how I should feel right about now.
I would be scared. I'd be glad we walked away with a win, but I'd be scared out of my mind.
I'm sitting here, I'm asking my fellow Ram nations on Facebook. I'm like, should I relax or should I just be peed off right about now? I still haven't made my decision yet. I'll make that decision Thursday before I do Rambo talk. I'm still processing this whole thing.
I was watching the Cowboys game, and they had the other game on the TV behind me at the bar, so I wasn't watching that game intently. Was Jalen Ramsey playing yesterday?
He played.
Then the Rams really need to figure something out because in both games, Stephon Diggs took them to task, and Drake London put on a show last night.
I mean, Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in the league. There's people just don't talk about him. So that's why he came out to play the way he played. Because he had to remind people, I almost forgot I'm in this conversation too, along with, Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, and some people might want to throw Michael Thomas back in there since he's back on the field now. But Stephon Diggs is in that conversation. He had to remind people. And Drake London, he might be a rookie, but that's what he did at USC.
Hey,
so the Falcons got what they needed.
I got a quick question for you. How big time is Jacoby Durant for y'all? South Carolina's, stud cornerback. He came up with a big pick.
He's been very impressive, I should say. It's not more of him getting the pick.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid to make the tackles.
Yeah. No
That's
doubt.
what I love. He's making the tackles. Now he did get leapfrogged by Drake London, but hey, they do play basketball as well, so he has hops. But he's not afraid to put his nose in there. And that's what I love. He's not afraid to put his nose in there.
I think that was definitely a good pickup for y'all, man. I seen him, you know, I watched a lot of swag football and MEAC and FCS football. He definitely was a dog last year, man. And you seen him against Clemson, and he was really a dog in college. So I think that was an amazing pickup. I think he's gonna have a good career for y'all.
Yeah, he should be good. And get some more season and get some more games on him, but he'll be up there, especially when you have Jalen Ramsey on one side. You brought back Troy Hill, who played very well against Buffalo, not so much against the Falcons, but it's kind of hard when you stick in number 8 in black.
But see now the Rams we've seen the Rams play twice, and now especially more than ever. They've got to shore up that secondary, man, especially with what happened in San Francisco. Now that San Francisco is a passing team again.
I mean,
they got to make they've got to shore up that secondary. You can't be getting ripped like that.
I feel like y'all pass rush been lacking this year. It's all started with the pass rush to help out the secondary.
Yeah, because Aaron Donald's name wasn't being called.
Yeah.
Not once against the Falcons.
Yep.
Leonard Ford name wasn't called now once against the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my pass rush?
Well, did that all go? I mean, they knew they didn't have a pass rush when they brought Von Miller in.
And you see what happened in week 1, opening night.
Did it all just go? And did all of their pass rush just go with Von Miller? I mean, it's all circular in the NFL. We know that. We know. Hey, a good pass rush will make a secondary. They'll make a good pass rush will make a good secondary great, and a great secondary will make a good pass rush look great. So. If you don't have one, you've got to manufacture the other.
I need Sean McVay and I need Raheem Morrison to get off that damn cloud.
Yeah.
We 2 games in. I haven't heard much from my D line. Okay, my secondary got choice against Buffalo. That's a given. I mean, Buffalo is Buffalo. Atlanta, they have some playmakers. They ain't get the ball to Kyle Pitts like they wanted to, which is good. So
messed up my fantasy lineup. But anyway, keep on going, playmaker.
But that's good. Drake London, Chris Olave. What's my boy name for the Jets? Chris Grant. Them 3 receivers, they all can ball.
Mm-hmm.
They just rookies, and you got to see what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they all put up. Drake London, we saw him put up. We saw Garrett Wilson take care of business down in Cleveland, which we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But and then you mentioned Chris Olave. Chris Olave was putting up numbers against Tampa Bay until Jameis Winston decided to go Jameis Winston.
Mm.
So you looking at wide receiver core from that draft class. That's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna see them do what they do. So, but we gonna see because our next 2 games is divisional opponents on the road, with one being on Monday night. We're gonna see what Sean McVay and Raheem Morris do, because now it's do or die because everybody in the division is 1-1.
You know what I mean? Playmaker, how big was that? The Cardinals coming back on the Raiders. How big was that? That finish. What's your thoughts about that finish? How the Cardinals finished it up against the Raiders?
It's crazy. Here's the thing, because if you look at it, you can say some of the similar things happened with the Rams that happened with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
You up big, and the other team starting to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You have uncharacteristic stuff. Cooper Kupp. When the last time you seen Cooper Kupp from the football? When was
I
the
don't
last
know.
time? When the last time you seen Hunter Renfro fumble the football? You put the ball in two of your sure-handed people, and they both coughed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Renfro ain't covered up once; he covered up twice.
Mm-hmm.
He just like, what is going on here? You can pretty much say all the first 2 weeks of the NFL is like you just throw everything that you know out the window.
Me and Dee's been talking about the Tua coming back in that fourth quarter. Like I don't know what you know what I mean. Mike McDaniel's been talking to Tua. I don't know, is he a quarterback whisperer or what? But Tua looking for real this year. He's looking for real.
My thing is this, and I was listening to First Take before I hopped on here, and I'm echo what Stephen A said. What the hell's going on with the Ravens defense? When you hear Baltimore Ravens, you hear defense because you think of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world? Okay, it's Tyreek Hill. He gonna get you at least once because he's that fast. But back-to-back possessions of deep bombs. That's not Baltimore Ravens defense.
Well, it's like I said, they got comfortable, and because at the beginning of the game they were bottling him up. They were bottling him up by double covering him, and then they got to that big lead, and they said, you know what, we're just going to single cover and see what happens. And when you single cover Tyreek Hill, it's the old Randy Moss adage: if we're even, I'm leaving. And he was just burning it. He was just burning by everybody.
The Baltimore Ravens literally got beat by 3 players: Tua, Waddle, and Hill.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like playmaker? You feel like John Harbaugh can afford a losing season or a non-playoff season this year?
It's not John Harbaugh. It's Lamar Jackson. Because what the Baltimore Ravens just did, that performance Lamar Jackson gave yesterday just went to an L.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about everything Lamar has done, but it came out with an L.
Mm-hmm.
And Lamar's the one trying to get that contract.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh got his. He's a proven winner.
Anybody would take Lamar right now. A couple teams will make, some movement around so he can make a team.
But that contract that he wants.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be in Baltimore because that's the style.
Mm-hmm.
He wants Kyler Murray type.
No,
he wants Kyler Murray type money.
No, he wants Deshaun Watson. He turned down Kyler Murray type. He wants Deshaun Watson.
They gotta tighten that. They gotta tighten that defense up, man. That's all it started. They gotta tighten that defense up. Lamar can't play defense too. Let's be real.
I mean, think about it. The man threw a 75-yard touchdown pass, and then he ran for a 75-yard touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And wait. He threw a 10-yard pass that turned into a 75-yard touchdown. He threw a slant that the guy caught and ran the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
that's the problem with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can throw the ball 1 to 12 yards. Lamar Jackson can throw it. He can't throw the ball over 20. He can't throw that 20-yard dig.
There's a lot of people can't throw that.
Every time he throws it, it's every time. And we've said this. That people have said this for years. I mean, Marquise Brown said it when he was playing there. The guy can't throw to the outside.
Hey, when you got a guy that can break it like that, we gonna keep calling that play.
So it's a lot of people that don't have no super big arms. So man, you gotta.
But I will say this: I did call that Dolphins game though.
You called it?
I called that. Mm-hmm. I picked the Dolphins, but everybody who was on Baltimore, I'm like, I'm picking the Dolphins.
You know what surprised me though? I wasn't expecting Jacksonville to do that too. I wasn't expecting that Jacksonville game.
I don't think anybody was expecting. Not what Jacksonville did. Nobody was expecting Indianapolis to be as bad as Indianapolis is.
I was expecting no 24-0 game.
Because I was going into the game when I was doing our drivers, I was like, yo, they haven't won in Jacksonville in 7 tries. I'm picking the Jaguars. Now, on how they perform, I didn't see coming. But I'm like, yo, because I already said it's something about teams from up north coming to Florida they can't win. We look week 1. Who Miami played in week 1? New England.
My Patriots. Yeah.
When the last time New England won in Miami? I was like, I'm picking Miami because they, for some reason, Bill Belichick can't win in Miami. Same thing with the Colts. For some reason, they can't come down here and win in Jacksonville. I'm picking the Jaguars. And then Matt Ryan just, that was like. But it helps when you have a D line that can stop the leading rusher from last year the way that they did.
There's something with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has to do something to exercise. Ever since 28-3, he's been a totally different mental quarterback. 28-3 just crushed him.
Hey, still crushing the Falcons to this day because they couldn't pull it off yesterday. So.
But playmaker, man, that defense of Pittsburgh looked like a different team without TJ, man. They look like a completely Hayward can't do it himself. So what adjustments you think they could do to, make some kind of pass rush? Hayward did a good job. I give it to him yesterday. He did an all right job.
Is Kenny Pickett ready?
You don't have to.
No. Is Kenny Pickett ready? Because if you want to help the defense, Mr. Trubisky is not helping your defense.
Mm-hmm.
When the defense do their job and you got to get the ball right back to the team, that doesn't help.
Yeah, that defense. They didn't get after the quarterback as they did, but a lot of that is the Patriots' offense.
I mean, the Patriots scored.
You know that from the Josh McDaniel days. The Patriots' offense is shotgun and get rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. 3 seconds, get rid of the ball. Whether it's completed or it's thrown way out of bounds, don't hold on to the ball. That's been their offense forever. So the sacks weren't going to come yesterday, but that defense still forced 3 turnovers.
Okay. But let me ask this, because you're the Patriots fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the last time you seen Bill Belichick so happy for a victory? What does that tell you about your team?
The biggest thing, playmaker, I wasn't expecting was Nelson Aguilar with that catch, because we know he got a long history of having Jacoby Jones' hands. So when I seen him catch that ball for that touchdown, I was mighty surprised. I thought he was going to drop it. To be honest with you, I thought he was going to drop it. But this team's going to have to win off other teams' miscues. Like you see the muff punt by Gunnar Churasky. That's how we're going to have to win and control that clock.
I'm looking at Bill Belichick. I'm like, I've never seen Bill Belichick like this.
Nah.
And this is a team that he owns. Mike Tomlin has a hard time beating New England. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No matter what the game is being played, they cannot beat New England. But I'm like, Bill Belichick is like, he's really happy he got this win. I'm like, what the world?
It's going to be a big game coming up this week, man, with us and the Ravens, man. I'm really wanting to see how we're going to game plan against Lamar. I remember the last time he won, I think Cam was starting, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be a big test to see how we're going to manage that game.
If the Ravens pissed off, good luck.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the Patriots are going to try to do, and they need to go back and watch the tape of the Buffalo game from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Run the football some more. And guess what? If your offense has the ball, Lamar Jackson doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, yesterday was ridiculous. Matter of fact, this whole weekend was ridiculous.
Especially the Lions versus the Commanders. I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting that. I thought the Commanders were going to get it done, but Swift, Brown, St. Brown, they popped one off on them.
I literally sat on the show for like probably 5 minutes because I really didn't want to pick that game. I was literally like, man, I'll just take my L and just whatever. I just take my L, and I finally picked Detroit, and thankfully Detroit.
I wasn't shocked by that at all. I mean, you talk about what the real Commanders team is what we saw last week and for 3 quarters against the Jaguars.
Dude, actually, the Jaguars
the surprise was the 4th quarter against the Jaguars where they made the comeback. But for the other 7 quarters that we've seen that team play, they've been awful.
That's because the word opportunity was the word for that game. The coach made the most of the errors. The Jaguars didn't convert theirs. That's how the Commanders got out of that one alive. But Detroit looking good.
And for everything that Detroit minus the first half against the Eagles, you take the second half of the Eagles game and you put yesterday's game on. For 6 quarters, Detroit's looked like a competent football team.
Well, be sure to see when they hit that part of that schedule when you got to play, Green Bay, Minnesota. I do believe that they got Tampa on that schedule. When you start playing the known playoff teams, then I would judge Detroit. For you, good start. Okay, you fought bad against Philly. You took care of the Commanders. We should see as the season progresses how you look. Because remember, this is a long season.
Yeah.
And Lord forbid from the teams that's struggling right now, like the Rams, the Bucks, the Bengals. Lord forbid once they start feeling like okay, now it's time to snap back into place.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. The Broncos versus 49ers. I'm looking forward to that game, man. I know Russell Wilson has been looking good yesterday he didn't look really good, but I'm looking forward to that game because Russell got a long history of owning the 49ers.
Man, Perez and Trey Lance.
Yeah, the question's gonna be who's gonna be healthy. I mean, they got to get Judy back.
Man, losing Jerry Judy. I was trying to figure out why they were struggling so much, and I was like, oh, because they was already without Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler going into the game anyway. Then I was like, what is going on? Why is Houston still fighting in this game? What the hell's going on? Oh, you know what? Second quarter, Jerry Judy goes out with a shoulder injury. So you down 3 receivers, and you only got 1 left. So on the Houston
they only got 1 left. And I was happy that my guy was still there because Cortland Sutton put up a good game.
All they had to do was make sure that Melvin Gordon and Devontae Williams didn't take off. That's all Houston had to do.
But give us a preview about the 2 games we got coming up tonight, Playmaker. What's your thoughts about these 2 games we got tonight?
Titans fans, take cover. Titans fans, take cover. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If y'all thought opening night was just a 1 game for Buffalo, oh hell no. When I saw you Stephon Diggs was trying to send you a message, I meant that. Josh Allen is sending a message. You know why? Because people keep talking about that damn 13 seconds.
Whew.
Von Miller's there. You see what that D-line look like now.
Why you got me about to pull my blanket over my face now, Playmaker? You know I'm a Patriot man. I gotta play them 2 times this year.
Hey, look, if you be keeping up with me and my brand and what we do, you know our motto: tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Oh man.
Buffalo is that team that's trying to send them it. Now, when they completed, this is the question. But for right now, Tennessee Titans fans, y'all better duck for cover because Buffalo is going to send an avalanche in September. Now, the real game to look forward to is the one up in Lincoln Financial Field
Mm-hmm.
between the Eagles and the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy who was my player of the week last week was Justin Jefferson, going for almost 200 yards and without a Green Bay Packer defender around him,
That's a bad boy right there.
which was shocking in itself because we all talked about Green Bay, we all talked about Aaron Rodgers, but we have to remember that the Packers have one of the top 5, top 10 defenses in the league. So how you let Justin Jefferson the one get off on y'all? Now you playing the Eagles team, who looked good. They finished the job, but not in the way that they should have against Detroit because you let them come back.
Mm-hmm.
But Miles Sanders, Garwin, you got Hurts leading the way. You got AJ Brown on one side. Do me a favor, Jalen Hurts. Even though I did pick Minnesota, don't forget your Alabama teammate over on the other side now.
Why do you feel like they haven't been getting him evolve into the game plan? I feel like he has had a lot of touches at all. You know,
Involved. He didn't have a single catch. He didn't have a single catch.
It's the same thing what Matthew Stafford did in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna go to Cup. Dude, you just got Allen Robinson, who's a big receiver.
Mm-hmm.
What Sean McVay do? What Sean McVay do with it?
Get him
We
evolve.
gonna make sure number 1 touches the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Derek Carr in week 1 against the Chargers. Oh, I got Devontae Adams. I got one of the best seasons in the league. Let's get him the ball. You do got Darren Waller and Hunter Ripple on your team. Remember? Them two was there with you when you made it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget them. The same Jalen Hurts. When you made the playoffs, when y'all became that leading rusher team, you still had to throw the ball, right? You still had Dallas Goedert and you still had Devontae Smith with you. They don't fall in love with one receiver because he's that dude. When you got other pieces who was there with you that got you to where you was at. If he's involved Devontae Smith, because he's gonna have to. Because if he don't, Minnesota's gonna find a way to make sure you turn the ball.
And Darius Slay got a big tall glass to guard, to try to defend Jefferson. That's gonna be a good matchup.
You know what the problem is? That's not even Kirk Cousins' number 1 receiver. People forget who is Kirk Cousins' number 1 receiver. That would be number 19. Adam Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting. Which game plan is gonna Kevin O'Connor, former offensive coordinator for the Rams?
Mm-hmm.
You got past week 1. Week 2, your first road test, you win Lincoln Financial Field against one of the team's favorite to win that division. What's your game plan going in for your offense? Because remember, you still got Dalvin Cook as your running back. No matter what Philly has at running back, they don't compare to a Dalvin Cook.
No lie. You're definitely right on the money on that one.
I want to see what Philly's offense does. They cannot win if they don't keep Miles Sanders on the field.
Miles Sanders got to stay healthy. That's the problem.
They can't play him 15 plays though. They've got to play him. They've got to play him more than 15 plays. I understand they think they have a 3-headed monster. No, Miles Sanders is that guy. You need to be getting him the ball.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. When you have that situation that Philly has, it's like, yo, I can use any running back I want to. And no demons can stop it. It's like a great problem to have, you Philly. But Miles Sanders is the main back. And then you actually got 4 because you got to add Jalen Hurts into the mix too.
Yeah.
You have 4 running backs.
You had the quarterback running. But that's the other thing about the offense that they run is there's a reason why A.J. Brown was getting all the targets because Jalen Hurts is still not – he's still one read and go. He doesn't have – and he needs to understand that, he has Devontae Smith as the number 2 option. Like, if A.J. Brown's covered, look to Devontae Smith, then you could take off. That's not his game so far. His game in the NFL is one read, and that's it. If A.J. Brown's open, I'm throwing it. If he's covered, I'm running.
And you still got Dallas Goedert as your tight end, so.
And you can't win. You can't win in the NFL doing that.
And Dallas Goedert is one of the best tight ends in the league that nobody talks about.
Dallas Goedert's a great, and we were talking about it earlier, North Dakota State guy.
But I don't know what it is, but I went with Minnesota on the road. I just feel like even though Philly has weapons, I just think that the fact that Kirk Cousins has been with this team and with this offensive weapon core longer than what Jalen Hurts had, they will find a way to get it done.
But it'd be a major win for the Eagles if they can get it done.
Oh, that'd be a major win for the Eagles because the Giants 2-0.
Woo! Nobody's speaking about that, playmaker. Nobody's speaking about that.
Matter of fact,
The Giants are 2-0 on the legs of their kicker and the Tennessee kicker.
so the Giants are 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, including myself, was hoping the Cincinnati Bengals do what they're supposed to have done, but come to find out, you still can't project Joe Burrow. And now Michael Parsons is leading the team to a win.
I think I gotta ask this question, and anybody in Cincinnati can answer it for me. Are y'all trying to get your quarterback killed? They need to block somebody.
So this is what I want to know. So we knew y'all had one of the worst offensive lines going into the Super Bowl because that man was sacked like 70 times and was hit way more than that. And then you upgraded the offensive line, and he's still getting pounded.
I mean, and they kept making this point because it's the Cowboys, so they always have to bring up the penalties and all that. And they kept bringing up, Cincinnati's the least penalized team. I don't care. At some point, you've got to hold so that your quarterback doesn't get killed. I mean, I understand you don't want to get penalties, but there are some penalties that you need to take. Like, if your quarterback's going to get killed, hold the guy.
What?
Because Michael Parsons was jumping on the back of the quarterback.
I wonder why they don't put like these. Why they don't use like a tight end, bring like a tight end on that line, just to block and give some extra coverage on that line. I know they got some extra bodies.
They don't have a tight end.
They need to do something. They need to do something because
they don't have a tight end. If you watch that game, they never even put a tight end on the field. They were 4 wide the whole game.
And you see what happened when time came. Jerome Burrow, boom, 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 touchdown, boom, 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 touchdown. We have a tie game all of a sudden. Y'all not for all the things that we said that we saw, because we know the talent, we understand. If the line can block, Cincinnati is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. If the line can block, Cincinnati is a dangerous team to deal with.
Yeah, and then they're back. Joe Mixon's not a good blocker either.
Nah.
So if your line screws up, like he's trying to get out in pass coverage. He's trying to get out into a pass route, and you can't when your line is that bad, your running back has to pick up the slack. Your running back has to be able to at least slow somebody down so that the quarterback can get rid of the ball.
They definitely had to do something, man. I can see it might be a season-ending injury again for him because that line is atrocious.
I'm telling you, it was a question I had at the third quarter of that game. Are they actively trying to get this guy killed? Because the guys weren't just sacking and they weren't just getting to the quarterback. They were jumping on the quarterback.
Coming in scot-free.
And these were defensive ends. Defensive ends just jumping over dudes. Like, what is going on?
This is why they say any given Sunday.
But that's why we'll see what happens Monday night. We'll see what happens next week when Dallas heads to New York.
Well, I appreciate you, Playmaker, coming on, man, giving your insights, man.
And no problem, man. I appreciate you inviting me on to come on and talk football with y'all.
I might have to get you. I might have to get up with you around basketball time too, man, because I got some interesting questions to ask you.
Woo. I'll be ready for it.
All right, this has been Playmaker, man. Tell them where they can get at you and all your social medias, man.
You can get me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Down there, the Playmaker Sounds on Facebook, D20 Playmaker on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, you can follow all the shows I do, Rambley Talk, Arch Rivals, Bear Down and Gridiron. Next month, I'll be launching my new basketball show called Shooting the Lights Out. So I'm looking forward to that next month. So you just find me on whatever platform you love listening to podcasts, and you'll find all my shows there too.
All right, thank you, Playmaker, for coming on, man, and giving your insights, man.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too. All right, man. We have on the last hour, we got Kenny the Sport Guy coming on. We're about to do a quick commercial break. Hey, Deets, what you got coming up this week, man? While we wait.
This week we're gonna move in. We're moving into week 3. I gave a little bit of a preview of it. Our best and worst of the weekend. The best things that we saw, the worst things that we saw from Saturday. We'll be talking a lot about this when we go NFL. We'll be talking a lot about this course correction, because that's really what it is. The overreaction to week 1 is what set up a lot of the things that happened in week 2. And especially being here in Connecticut, you're hearing a lot of Giants fans celebrate your victories, but you need to calm down. You won a game in week 1 where Saquon went for 100 and whatever. And then this week he had what, like 30 yards? I mean, you beat the Panthers on a game-ending field goal. I understand win and move on, but to get caught up in the Giants did not look good on Sunday.
They did not, but they found a way to win, so that's the only thing that mattered, Deets.
And beat the teams that you need to beat, because we saw that this weekend. We saw it this weekend. You have to win the games that you have to win the games that are winnable, and that's why the Cowboys beating Cincinnati was so huge, because nobody really thought that. I didn't think the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys would start 0-2 even when they had Dak. So to pull out this game is big for the Cowboys. And as I said last week, the goal is to survive right now. Survive until Dak can come back. And this goes a long way to helping them.
I feel like you should, you don't need to rush them at all, man, especially when they're throwing hand, man. I think you should just let them take them weeks off to their hands fully healthy, man. Because we can't.
I don't think we'll see Dak till after the bye week, which I think is week 8. So I don't think we'll see him back till week 9.
I was just excited that y'all gave Ezekiel Elliott 15 carries. That was surprising to me.
I liked Zeke having 15, and I liked even more that Tony Pollard was getting his run.
You can't make it a throwing show with Cooper Rush. You can't make it a throwing show with him. You gotta depend on that run.
No. They've got to run the football. They've got to really do that, and they've got to do it They've got to do it when there's 8 or 9 guys in the box. You know, they've got to have a way to get run the football so that they pack it in, and then you get one-on-one matchups with CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb's got to win those matchups.
Exactly.
That's the only way the Cowboys can win. Is you've got to run the football. If you're not running the ball effectively or running the ball even trying, if teams know you're not going to try, then they're just going to stay deep.
We got Kenny, the sports guy, on here. Kenny's the Sport Guy podcast. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I see you got that big award, man.
Oh yeah, I did. That was actually pretty interesting how I got it, but it's something to have it on the mantle or something.
Yeah, okay. Man, you got that big win. You just got the big win.
Yeah, I know. I was so happy about that yesterday, and wow, I can't believe they actually came back because normally I'm so used to them like giving up, like in the fourth quarter, especially with that Nick Chubb's running it for the touchdown, to make it 17-30, and I can't believe they came back, and we have to ride that momentum off that and go to MetLife to beat the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know. You probably can, man. They're not blocking for Joe Burrow right now, so
I mean,
anything's possible.
That's our advantage to it, though, because the offensive line for the Bengals cannot block anybody. Like Joe Burrow is gonna die one of these days, one of these games. You know, like it just feels like they spent all that money on the O line, but it's just not working out now. Like what happened last night, like. Even like with the Dallas Cowboys, they lost to the Cowboys. I don't know how, but it's crazy.
So, man, what's your biggest moment you feel like was in the NFL this week, man?
That's actually
biggest shine.
That's actually a good question, actually. I would have to say the Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens game. That was very, very interesting, actually, because I think the Ravens defense actually lost that game more than the Dolphins offense. I think Tua that was his official breakout game for me. He just threw 6 touchdowns for over 400 yards. But I just feel like a part of me wants to, praise the Dolphins, but the other part of me is saying, wait a minute. The Baltimore Ravens defense actually choked away that lead. That's what I actually believe in, actually. But a lot of people on Twitter believe that, Tua is the truth. This is his first breakout game. But as of right now, I see some part of Tua that, he can throw the ball. He can throw over 400 yards. But I just feel like this was actually a little bit of a fluke.
I really feel it's going to be their biggest test is going against the number, who's the ringleader is of our division is Buffalo Bills. I want to see what they do against Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be their test for me. If they can get it done against Buffalo, I'll be on the bandwagon. They might be for real.
Yeah, I think if they beat teams like the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots or New York Jets, I think especially the Bills, I think if they beat the Bills, they'll be coined as legitimate. So yeah, we shall see. Like I think Tyreek Hill changes the offense completely. I think Tua is gonna be a little bit better, but I'm not sure like if he could take it to the next step, even though this game showed it.
Let's go over to the team you love to cover, man. The Yankees with a big win. How you feel about your boys right now, the Yankees?
Ooh, man, I would have to say like I feel very iffy about them right now because the offense is there. You still got Judge. Like he's gonna hit 61. He's gonna pass 62. But I just don't trust the bullpen. I mean, look at what happened yesterday. So we had a 6-run lead, and we allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded. And the Brewers could just potentially tie the game and we had Clay Holmes on the mound.
Mhm.
Clay Holmes has not been 100% ever since he got hurt, and
Mhm.
also like ever since after the All-Star break, he kind of fell out a little. And another thing about the Yankees is who's going to be our closer? Chapman, Holmes, Peralta. I mean, it's kind of like a mix. It's like a musical chairs at this point, actually.
What's your thoughts, Deets?
When does the baseball season end?
The regular season or the postseason?
The regular season.
So October 5th.
October 5th. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I was asking my buddy because we know that Judge is so close to having that 62.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they play the Red Sox. I think they play the Red Sox towards the final games of the season.
Yeah, so they face the Pirates starting tomorrow for a 2-game set, and then they face the Red Sox for 4 this weekend.
Yeah. If you're the Red, I was asking a buddy of mine I was asking a Red Sox fan of mine. If you're the Red Sox, it's one of the last times Judge is going to bat for the season, and he's at 61. Do you walk him?
Mm.
I mean, not even because it's a game, just because you're the Red Sox and you're like, this Yankee ain't doing it against us.
I like the pettiness, Deets. I love it. I love it.
I would so do that. I would send my guy out there and be like, nope, he's not doing it against us.
Ooh.
That's actually a good question. I think they would do it because they're like a rivalry of both of them. And who wants to give up like number 62? Like, I don't think one of the Red Sox pitchers they're gonna give it up. Maybe the Pirates, yeah, but not the Red Sox because there's so much pettiness involved in that.
Absolutely, I'm King Petty. I would not even. I wouldn't give him a pitch. If he's gonna hit it, it's gonna be because it bounced. It's gonna be because the ball bounced.
Exactly.
I'd be like, don't even throw it to the plate. Bounce it in there. We'll take it in the dirt. We don't care. Just don't let him elevate the ball.
So you think he will hit number 61 tomorrow or Wednesday?
Who they play? They're playing the Pirates.
Yeah, they're playing the Pirates on those days.
I would say he probably does it tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. I think he has 2 home runs against the Pirates, but I think it's gonna happen maybe this weekend, Friday or Saturday, because there's gonna be something special. Something special about hitting a record-setting home run in front of your rivals. Like, I feel like that's gonna happen. I think he's not gonna do anything for the next 2 games. It's that Red Sox series that everyone's gonna be talking about because it's a big series. The Red Sox have not been good this year. They've been mediocre at best. But yeah, I just feel like he's gonna hit 62 around maybe Friday or Saturday afternoon. I mean, who knows?
Are you worried about, the playoffs? Y'all number 1 in the division. Are you worried about y'all might get knocked out and possibly in the first round, or you have any worry?
Yes, I do. I feel the bullpen is a little bit iffy. We have no closer. We keep on changing our lineup every single day. I mean, right now, if you would have asked me this maybe in June, I would have said, hey, we're gonna make it to the World Series. Because of the offense, everything was clicking. The offense, the defense, the pitching. But right now, I'm a little bit iffy when it comes to this lineup, this bullpen. I mean, they still have Cabrera, still playing. Like, who's that rookie? I think, Oswaldo. I know one of the Cabreras. He's still on the bench. I don't understand why he's still on there, actually. But I feel like I'm still a little bit on the fence about the Yankees now because, like I said, it's like the closer. We have a closer issue. We have bullpen issues. Like, the only person that's hitting in our lineup right now is Aaron Judge. That's it. Mm-hmm. And he's literally batting leadoff, which I have no idea why. he should be batting cleanup instead. But I'm not the manager of the Yankees, thankfully. But
Maybe y'all can get Mario to come out of retirement.
yeah, Mariano. I wish because I close it right now. It's looking highly suspect right now.
Deeks, what about your Mets? What's your biggest worry about your Mets right now?
The biggest worry is holding off the Braves, man. Right now, the biggest worry is do enough to hold the Braves off, and the Mets will be fine. The Mets will be fine if they can get into the postseason with home games, with that pitching staff, those two starters. Mm-hmm. That's the Mets game right now.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, I feel like he said earlier. I feel like it's the Braves, but also the injuries, because they have like two key players on the IL right now in Max Scherzer and Starling Marte. I think that the injuries are a big issue with the Mets, but I think they'll hold it off though, because they've been doing that all season long, and right now it's just they come too far to fail. It's just I think
it's just can they hold off? And yeah. I was just looking at that, and I want to look at, because I was looking at their schedule earlier, and I think they play Philly. Coming down the stretch, they got the Brewers, the A's, and the Marlins.
Yeah, that's actually a really decent schedule for them right now.
Yeah. And then a 3-game. It's going to come down to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, September 30th, October 1st, and October 2nd in Atlanta.
Yep. So they face the Brewers on the 19th to the 21st. Then they go to Oakland for 3, which it should be an easy series for them. They come back home against the Marlins on the 27th and the 28th. And then the 30th through the 2nd, they face the Braves, and they finish off the year versus the Nationals.
I mean, let me stop you right there. As a lifelong Mets fan, nothing's ever easy.
Yeah, nothing is ever easy.
just look at what happened last week. We thought, oh, this will be easy. 3-game series against the Cubs. Swept.
They got swept.
It's swept by the Cubs.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
So the Mets never make anything easy.
No, especially lately with the getting swept with the Cubs. Even that Pirates game yesterday, they had to literally just sweat it out.
No.
I got two more questions for y'all before we get out of here. What teams do you feel like are dark horses that make a good playoff push? You know what I mean? Kenny, you start first.
In baseball or?
In baseball.
You know, I'm going to say the Toronto Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays, for so long, everybody is expecting them to be, great. And right now, they're on a run that, they usually go through every year when they try to make the postseason. They just keep winning games. I mean, I love their pitching. I love their offense, especially Vlad Guerrero Jr. I love Bo Bichette. I think he's been raking a lot recently. And as for the National League, wow, that's actually a really good question. I'm going to say a team that nobody seems to talk about, the St. Louis Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are actually really good. They can make some noise in the postseason.
Deets?
I was just going to say the same thing. The St. Louis history will tell us the St. Louis Cardinals know how to play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they're counted out, the Cardinals come up and have. So that's the most scariest team to me.
Yeah.
In the National League, in the American League, I don't think anybody's catching the Yankees or Astros. I think it's Yankees and Astros, and nobody's going to catch them. But if somebody's going to come out, again, I'll go history. It'll be the Rays.
Yeah, the Rays are actually another dangerous team too. So, and also one could argue the Mariners too. The Mariners have not made the postseason since 2001. And I think it's their time. I mean, they have a run in them.
Well, they'll be the Mariners will be in the postseason this year. I just don't think they have the horses to run.
I mean,
When
they
they
do
get-
have
when they get
I
in,
mean, they
they're-
do have the pitching for it though. But as for the offense, it's still up in the air.
Yeah, and we all know watching baseball, it comes down. All offense slows down. It comes down to pitching and defense.
Always, especially in postseason play.
Because in the postseason, one run changes the entire game.
Yep, one mistake changes the entire series too.
You know, I got one more question before we get out of here. I know both y'all big wrestler fans, and how do you feel about the YouTube star getting a big date with Roman Reigns, Logan Paul? How do you feel about that, Kenny?
I think
I hate that.
I
hate
think it's stupid. I don't know what he did to deserve a title shot, but I know the reason why they did it, because they want more eyes on the product, and unfortunately, Logan Paul gets a lot of followers. I personally think he's not a good wrestler. He's decent at best, and I really hope that Roman Reigns destroys him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, goes with a little Kevin Nash style, where he just takes him, power bombs him right out of the gate, boom, and ends the match right away.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking for in that one. Just 30 seconds. All right, done.
Yeah, so a quick payday for both. I don't know why this is happening, but it is what it is. I think it's a stupid thing, a stupid match, but money talks at the end.
Exactly.
I think what they're doing with Roman Reigns is just so, like, somebody's got to challenge him for the title.
Yes, the thing is, there's no challengers with him.
They've kept the belt on him for so long that it's just become like something that you don't want to watch. Like, I don't even want to watch a Roman Reigns match anymore, because I know how it's going to end.
I mean, right now, I stopped watching WWE Raw. Right now, I've just been focused on AEW because AEW is more appealing to me. But I just feel like, this whole Roman Reigns title reign, it's getting old already. I mean, they should have taken the belts off him. Actually, during that Edge match last year with at Money in the Bank, I think that would have been a terrific opportunity for them to drop the belts. But I guess WWE seems otherwise. It seems to think otherwise.
And I know their plan. What their plan was got upset by the Cody Rhodes injury, but
yeah, they got derailed.
They wanted to put the belts on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, which will happen in WrestleMania.
Then the shoulder injury.
Yeah,
absolutely killed that.
Mm-hmm. So now,
but you have to have back. Like, this is the thing about WWE now. They have no backup plans anymore.
They don't.
It used to be back in the day. Back in the day, they used to have 5 or 6 plans, and they would go, "All right, we're going to go with one." And then when that started to fade, they would go right into the second plan. Mm-hmm. They don't have any backup plans anymore.
They don't. Nothing's creative anymore either.
The writing staff at WWE Creative is awful.
It is.
It's
awful. I 100% agree.
It is not. It's not entertaining. It's not entertaining anymore because you know exactly what's going to happen every match that goes out there.
Yeah, that's the predictability factor I've been mentioning to these people sometimes.
I bring this up every time I watch Raw. When's the last time you saw a belt change hands on Raw?
Wow. You talking about the WWE Championship, or
I'm talking about any belt. Anytime a belt is on, it's not changing hand. It's not going to change hands on Raw. They're going to wait till the pay-per-view, and it's like, all right, well, this is getting stupid now. Like, don't even have a championship match on Raw because I know how it's going to end.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one argument could be made that you can see that every match, like whenever they put the card out, you can basically predict who's gonna win. And that's my problem with WWE because they have such a huge predictability problem. So nothing shocks me anymore when it comes to WWE. Like I'm a type of person that like to be shocked at whatever I watch, and they don't deliver. You know.
I mean, how many times growing up watching WWE did you see the end of Raw? You were like, wait, what just happened? And how like the end of Raw, you were waiting for the next week to see how does this play out. They don't have those shots anymore.
There's no anticipation for anything anymore. Even like the whole Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns match at SummerSlam, which everyone hyped up, by the way. Like, just because they used a tractor to raise the ring doesn't really mean anything. That match was pretty decent at best. You know?
All right, Kenny, what you have coming up, man, before we get out of here? What content you got coming up?
So actually an hour ago, I actually released an episode with ESPN reporter Renee Washington. I just put on the chat below. You want to check it out. I talked with her about the WNBA, the NFL season, her business ventures, and what it's like for a reporter working at ESPN. So it was actually a pretty fun chat. Like, it was one of the best interviews I ever had, me personally. And I'm also working on a few projects, more interviews. My next episode, I did a stadium review on Yankee Stadium, which will be released Thursday. And then next week, I got more guests coming. So that's how I've been working on for the next few weeks now.
Okay. Deets, what you got coming up before we get out of here?
I got coming up Thursday morning on Snowman's program. I will be unveiling the first of my Marvel Cinematic Sports, and I will be revealing the Captain America quarterback of the NFL. So we're gonna start that series, and then I'm producing that for my network. You'll know who the Captain America of the National Football League is. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out, but I got to tell you, the parallels to this guy are amazing. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that as we go here. As I figure out how to work the program. I have 23 characters already slotted. I did NFL players. I did one for NBA, which I'll get out prior to the NBA season. So we're gonna do that. We're working on the comic book sports crossover.
Wow, that's
Fifth
very
Down.
interesting. That's amazing.
All right, how can they reach you, Deets, and go with Kenny?
So to get at us, Fifth Down Sports on YouTube. We're kind of off Blog Talk for the next couple weeks while we work on that. We'll be back there. We'll be back there eventually, but I just got to work some things out behind the scenes. But we'll be on YouTube, so check us out. YouTube, Fifth Down Sports Show. We're there. We're on Facebook. We're on Spotify. So all our shows will be there. And like I said, the videos, once I learn how to do voiceovers, I'm going to be popping these videos out. They're going to be coming out daily. Daily videos, and it's been so much fun to go through this and compare these players.
Nice. So
I can tell you, Rod, you're gonna like the first one. It's pretty funny.
Okay, go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, so with me, you can find me on Twitter at Kenny_sports, Instagram at KennySportsGuy1, TikTok at Kenny Sports Podcast. In addition, I have a YouTube channel. You can find me there on Kenny's the Sports Guy Podcast YouTube channel. I'm trying to put more content into that. My video episode of Renee Washington is going to be available there as well. I just got to do a little bit of editing with that. And also, you can find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, and on my website, www.kenthesportsguy.com, Ken with 2 N's. And yeah, you can just find me there.
This has been another episode of Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. I appreciate y'all fellas coming on, man, and giving y'all insight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.